Hey, what is up, guys? It's Max, and today I wanted to do a review and even explain the ending of the movie, The Circle. If you haven't watched it by now, The Circle is a movie about a whole bunch of people who are selected to participate in a game where they choose to kill off people, and the last person standing gets to walk out of there alive. In the room, it's a pretty diverse set of people. I counted at least 5 or 6 old people, 2 Asian people, a few Hispanic people, few black people, a good majority of white people, and I even counted one Muslim lady. And so the movie progresses, and every few minutes they have to pick somebody next to die. And naturally, people are just going to try to survive as much as they can. So everybody is out for their own self interest, except for a few minority of people who think that the pregnant lady and the little girl should survive. But as we know, only one of them can survive, so in the end, it's ultimately going to come down to either one of those two, or at least that's what they think. And as the movie progresses, we learn that a lot of those people in the room were there for a specific reason, and the reason being that they were really bad people in real life. For example, there was a guy in a blue shirt who suggests that they should kill the old people first, and they do follow his advice to a T, and they kill a few old people until eventually one of the older ladies, and she convinces everybody else to kill off that one guy who suggested that they kill off the old people first. So they kill the guy who suggested they kill the old people first out of spite. And going back to that whole everybody was there for a reason, we slowly figure out that most people in there were there for a reason, and we know this because there's one black lady and one black woman who were in the room that had an affair. And this becomes true because later on in the movie, they both volunteer to step off, and just before they're about to step off, the black guy says to the black lady, "You should have never married that guy," meaning she should have never married her husband. So the whole affair thing comes out to be true. And so there's a few more, quote, bad people in the room that become revealed. A cop reveals this one Hispanic gang member that he recognizes as a gangbanger who beat his girlfriend. And that Hispanic gangbanger ends up getting killed because people find him to be a terrible person who deserves to die. And later on, that same exact cop who revealed a gangbanger ends up getting murdered as well because he goes on a racist tirade about how black people are entitled and how they don't deserve reparations. So people find him to be very racist, so they kill the racist cop as well. Afterwards, there's a guy who's an atheist, and he calls non-atheist people, he calls religious people stupid. And because he has this whole smugness and attitude of superiority over everybody else, they decide to kill him as well. There's a rich guy who is bigoted towards gay people, and he even mocks this one lesbian who has a kid, and he talks about how the kid's not going to grow up in a safe environment because the kid has 2 moms instead of a mom and a dad, and because of his bigoted views, he gets killed as well. And finally, the last person who I wanted to talk about is the rich banker who harasses the pregnant woman, saying that she got pregnant out of wedlock, and because of his whole views and due to his selfishness, he gets murdered as well. He doesn't get murdered initially because of the views he has towards a pregnant woman, but eventually he does get killed because he reveals his true colors, and he keeps voting for the little girl, and everybody realizes that he's a selfish, entitled person, so they eventually vote to kill him off as well. And throughout the movie, you do get a few volunteers, kind of like the black woman and the black lady who had an affair. You get the illegal Hispanic immigrant who voluntarily steps off. You get the young kid named Sean who steps off. You get the one Hispanic lady whose son died in a motorcycle accident. She voluntarily steps off. A black guy in a suit voluntarily steps off. And by my estimates, there could have been more volunteers, but that's all the volunteers I counted. But there probably could have been more volunteers. And I could be wrong, but I believe the last volunteer was at the end of the movie, who was the little girl, because eventually it comes down to 3 people. The one young white guy, the little girl, and the pregnant woman. The young white guy convinces the little girl to step off in order to save the pregnant lady, and just as the girl's about to step off, the guy quickly votes for the pregnant girl, and the little girl dies, and the pregnant girl dies. So he's left there by himself. So this is where I begin to explain the ending. And when it finally comes down to just him, the game doesn't end there. So he's like, "Oh my God, am I not good enough for you?" So he talks to the aliens and says, "Am I not good enough for you?" Blah blah blah. He goes on this speech, and then finally, the beam points at him and points at the baby in the pregnant lady's belly. So they get into a tiebreaker. And I believe the reason why this happens is because the baby in the woman's stomach has a heartbeat, so it counts as a living person. That's why the baby gets a vote. But because the baby is not conscious, it's not born, it's still in the mother's stomach, it can't vote. So the young guy votes for the baby and he finishes off the game. And as the movie ends, the guy wakes up outside. He walks out where he finds a whole bunch of other people. And by my estimates, I counted 2 pregnant women, I counted a few children, and I counted a whole bunch of grown men. So what that tells us is, in a few of the games, the pregnant lady survived. And also in a few games, the little kid survived. So the same theme applies to the whole bunch of circles that happened in other spaceships, just like the one in the movie, where it ultimately led to a pregnant woman or a kid surviving. And then you also see a whole bunch of grown men too, which makes us believe that although there may or may not have been kids or pregnant women in their spaceships, they probably did the same thing that the main character in the movie did as well. He probably got down to killing off the pregnant lady or the kids in their spaceships as well. So that's just my take on the movie. It's my review, and I try to explain this as best as I can. And if I said anything wrong, please let me know. I'd much rather you guys let me know in the comments section if I did something wrong as opposed to, disliking the video. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I try to do this review as best as I can. Until next time, Max out.